We are glad you are with us for another edition of What's Next? Living Longer, Better, Smarter. This episode is made possible by the AgeTech Collaborative from AARP with a mission to discover, support, and scale ideas that will help empower millions of people to choose how they live as they age. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Mary Furlong, and our title this time out is The Magic of Connection. And we have a couple of wonderful guests with some great innovation. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Fred. This is always an exciting episode when we have our competition winning innovation, and we get to see what they shared with the audience from the Longevity Venture Summit, which was sold out this year.
Really terrific. So with us from the AgeTech Collaborative from AARP is Vice President, Startup Programming and Investments, Amelia Hay. Hi, Amelia.
Hi, Fred. Hi, Mary. Hi, Eben. It's nice to be here with you all.
And at the Longevity Venture Summit, Mary, the AgeTech Collaborative conducted the Social Connection Pitch Competition, and we're going to have the winner with us. This was the 20th anniversary for the summit. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you. It's hard to believe this has been 20 years, and we had so many great companies and investors who took part in the summit. There's always so much to learn and so many ideas to share. In the beginning, there was only a few investor groups. This time we had over 26 investor groups. So thank you so much to Amelia and to the AgeTech Collaborative for making this possible, for playing such a big part. So tell us a little more about the work you've done and just how fast it's grown in the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we established the AgeTech Collaborative about a year and a half ago, and we did it to support the startups that we already had, and that's also growing. But it's an ecosystem with enterprise companies that want to offer test beds, venture capital firms, and the bedrock of it is the startups. And after a year and a half, we have almost 300 companies in the collaborative. About 120 of them are the startups, and the rest are all these other companies. And we're there all interested in furthering AgeTech solutions to help make aging easier for everybody. So it's a wonderful, mission that we're on, and it's great to see all these companies interested in joining.
Amelia, a lot of work went into putting together the Social Connection Pitch Competition. Tell us about the theme, first of all, and the importance of it.
Yeah, so we know that older people have this social isolation issue, and that it is as bad as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's also one of we are heavily invested in brain health and the 6 pillars of brain health that we established. One of them is social engagement. And so it's really, we want to make sure that as people age, that they don't feel isolated, that they're not lonely. And that's why we wanted to do this pitch competition, to try to find solutions using technology, obviously, to make it easier and accessible to a lot of people about how to get these people engaged.
And we had some amazing finalists. I was really impressed by the quality of the sample. We had both done a lot of outreach. And we had some first-rate moderators and judges too.
Yeah, they included Katie Schmitz from Ziegler Linkage Funds, Ted Fisher from Ageless Innovation, Christine Brocato from Common Spirit Health. They were the judges. Carrie Shaw from Embodied Labs and David Lindman from Citrus Health were the moderators. So this was really terrific. Congratulations again for getting that all together, Amelia.
Well, I had a lot of help from Mary and her team.
Well, the competition, of course, was intense, with 6 companies outlining the work that they're doing, and the winner is with us. Eben Pingree, co-founder of Kinsome from Ophelia Labs. Congratulations, Eben.
Thank you very much. We were very flattered and humbled by the support and the success we had at the competition.
There was a quiet in the room when you spoke, and I don't quite understand completely what the magic was of how your pitch came out so strong, but you won both the audience award And it was an impressive audience, as well as the Judges Award. So tell us about the company and what you're doing.
Yeah, so Kinsome it's a social platform that is focused on teaching grandkids to share more of their lives with their grandparents, to open the window into what's going on with them a little bit wider, as well as teaching them why it's important to share that with older generations in their family. And we do that through what we call kind of a social journaling experience. So on the grandkid side, it's a asynchronous audio first experience where they're telling about what's going on in their lives, but instead of it being kind of a one-way dump like traditional journals, it's a conversational experience with an AI that learns about their interests and their friends and their family and their schedules, so it can ask very specific questions and get past the one-word answers that kids are so good at giving back.
And what's the story behind it? Eben, you don't mind me saying you're a fairly young guy, so how did this come about?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the company's origin started about only 6 months ago or so, when my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and within several days of that, my father-in-law got the same diagnosis, and so pretty quickly our lives turned, or that became a central theme in our lives. And as we kind of dug in on a personal front, this data around social isolation and its ties to cognitive decline just blew us away. And while we hope that wasn't a driving factor in my mom and father-in-law's lives, more broadly, it's clearly a massive problem in our country. And I wish that I was a smarter person who could cure Alzheimer's, but my background is in building social products and software. And so this felt like an area that me and my co-founders could sink our teeth into and hopefully make a dent.
So can you step us through a little bit how this will work?
So it's kind of a prompted conversation on the grandkid side, where they get kind of questions, but the questions get more specific over time as the AI learns about the specific kid and what they like to talk about, as well as what the grandparent finds interesting from those conversations. So the AI plays a number of different roles, from kind of facilitator. I have my oldest son is 8 years old, and when he's with my parents, who he sees all the time and is very close with, I still have to kind of get him to open up. They'll ask him how he's doing or what's new, and he'll say good, nothing much. But then, I'll remind him, what about your big soccer game today? And that'll get him talking. And that's something that you can recreate with AI. We also have some kind of fun roles where we kind of translate things that either the kid or the grandparent says for the other generation. So my kid, my oldest son, will talk about Justin Bieber occasionally, who is someone my parents do not know. And the AI can kind of explain who that is to my dad, or my dad might mention Elvis Presley. My son doesn't know who that is. So the AI can kind of translate and kind of fill in those gaps. So there's a lot of kind of benefit that we have kind of built into this middle translator / facilitator role. And then the last thing that I think is interesting is at the end of each update. So when the kid is finished with their update, which gets packaged up to send to the grandparent as an audio file, we append prompts to the end of that kind of push the grandparent to reflect back on their own life. So my son did a play a couple weeks ago. He gave an update about what the play was about, which was the US presidents. And then at the end of that update, we'll ask the grandparent, do you have any memories when you were a kid of a US president? And my dad has a great story about meeting JFK when he was in the Eagle Scouts. And so he told that story, and that becomes this bonding point for them, as well as something that can get saved for the family to kind of enjoy in the future.
And so tell us a little bit about when people can start using it, and the price point and the business model. And you were overwhelmed with people coming up to you wanting to do deals at the conference, right? We always like that to happen.
Yeah, we have been, like I said, just totally humbled by the support we got at the conference. So right now, if you go to kinsome.com, we are testing the Grand Kid experience. We're focused specifically right now on 8 to 10-year-olds as our kind of initial testing ground. So if you're interested in being part of that, you can sign up now. The hope is to be available to the public come September. It's going to be a freemium model, so you'll be able to use it for free to begin with, and then there'll be a monthly subscription cost at the family level. So like I would buy it for my kids and my parents. And yeah, I think that those were the high level things. But yeah, we've been from the conference, we've had all kinds of follow up from folks in the senior living industry, other kind of tangential players that see partnership opportunities, as well as investors that we're in talks with. So it's been an incredible experience.
Eben, I know that we're focused here on older adults and the benefits there, social isolation, coping with that. But young people today, the stories that you read about their social isolation, those stories are heartbreaking. And it seems to me you're tackling that at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the only category that stands out above older folks is the young adults. The kind of 18 to 24-year-olds are the loneliest group of all. And we do think that there's an opportunity for this to help create a stronger kind of family foundation in those earlier years. So you have more people that you can rely on. And as you get older, there, in past generations, grandparents played a much bigger part in kids' lives, and we think there's an opportunity to bring that back.
Yeah, and so often if it's a simple phone conversation, it's how are you? What'd you do at school? And the answer is fine and nothing. So yeah. And we certainly are not trying to, the synchronous conversation is incredibly important. In real life visits are even more important. And we're not trying to replace those in any way, but we can help strengthen the foundation. So when you do get on the phone, the grandparents have more specific questions to ask and can have better conversations. And, that then leads to better relationships for when you visit in person. So we think it all kind of flows together. So Amelia, tell us about the role the AgeTech Collaborative will be playing here now, and what you might hope to do even with a company like this.
Right. Well, I mean, we are looking at inviting Eben and Kinsome into the accelerator program in the fall. And at that point, once he goes in, and we do some due diligence ahead of time, but once he goes in, he's then, we go to many conferences and we showcase our startups at them, particularly CES and Vive and Health. We're thinking about going to Argentum this next year. So we are, hoping that he wants to be part of the startup portfolio, and we can further help him with the community that we have in the AgeTech Collaborative.
I think back on the purpose that AARP had in the beginning with Ethel Percy Andrews, and I think she would be smiling today at this solution at this time.
Yeah, I'm very proud of working on it, and I do think that it is a new and different way for AARP to show up. And certainly with the popularity of the ecosystem, and I'm blessed to be able to find these solutions like Eben's out there and try and help them succeed. And that is the entire goal. I'm lucky because we sit in a nonprofit and we're just trying to make aging easier for everybody.
I think that's right. I also think that your deck and your presentation, and I know Fred, you and I had the opportunity to help with coaching the finalists, but we're first rate. So we might take a look at that at the end here and just show through some of those slides that show just how large that market opportunity is. And also the talent. I think what I find energizing is the talent that's coming into the longevity market. There were 60 new companies at the conference we'd never met before. So, to see home care and senior housing come to the table and look for these active solutions that can be part of their offering to customers is exciting. So great that we have the collaborative there. and wonderful to collaborate with you. So we want to thank you and wish you all the best as you in your journey. I did hear good things, Amelia, that Argentum has a new initiative in innovation. So I do think that would be another good place to go. Fred, you and I were able to coach the finalists on their presentation. And it's clear to us that Eben had one of the best presentations. Let's share with our audience what some of the slides were and how he made the case for this need.
Yeah, so we had some kind of timely support from the U.S. Surgeon General with the recent report on the epidemic of loneliness and social isolation. And obviously, it starts with just how big an impact this can have on older adults, and particularly with respect to cognitive decline. He pointed out that it can lead to an increase in the risk of developing dementia by approximately 50% in older adults. And when you marry that with just how prevalent social isolation is, this quote on this slide talks about how it's basically 1 in 2 people reports measurable levels of loneliness. That's a massive opportunity with massive health impacts. And while the problem of loneliness affects all different age groups, the health impacts are disproportionately skewed towards older Americans. So, that there's massive spending going on through Medicare to help address loneliness specific health issues. So while we're not kind of specifically driven by the market opportunity, we see a massive opportunity to bring in savings here. And the area that we chose to focus was around the extended family and family communication. In the same report from the Surgeon General, he pointed out that non-household family engagement has dropped from 35 hours per month in 2003 to 22 in 2020, which is a massive drop. And family communication can be the bedrock for a lot of people's social lives, but particularly older Americans. And this is something that we heard. We did several hundred interviews with older folks about their social lives, about loneliness. And we just heard over and over that often the highlights of their weeks would be updates from their grandkids that they wish they had more. But that was often followed by them kind of talking about how they wish they had a deeper relationship, and how they remembered when they were growing up, they felt like their grandparents had played a bigger role in their life, and they felt like they had room to do more for their grandkids. Following up on that research, we started talking to a lot of grandkids as well, and we talked to a number of different age groups. And while there's some difference depending what age you're talking about, there was a theme of kind of often not knowing what to talk about with their grandparents, kind of running out of things to say, and sometimes it being awkward. And that's what led us to have this idea for Kinsome, to bridge this communication gap across generations and make it easier to share more of their lives. You can think of Kinsome as kind of a social journaling experience. It's asynchronous, it's audio first, and it teaches kids to share more of their lives and open the window into what's going on a little bit wider. And we leverage AI pretty heavily, first and foremost as a conversational facilitator. So we use it to get kids talking, to get them beyond the one-word answers. And the more they use it, the better it gets at kind of learning about what they're interested in, what they like to talk about, specific friends' names, family names, things like that. It also serves as a translator. So if my son is talking about playing Pokemon, we can explain to my dad what that means, and vice versa. It can also be a literal kind of language translator. So there's some of these problems are even more pronounced when you're talking about an international family, that maybe the parents and grandkids are in the US and the grandparents are in China. And then you've got bigger time zone differences, bigger, obviously more physical distance, as well as language barriers that we can help with through translation. There's an element of kind of being a family historian. So when a story gets shared from either side, we can kind of save that to the family's memory bank and leave it for family members to enjoy in the future in the audio version. And lastly, we can kind of move pretty seamlessly between written and spoken word. So when a kid gives an audio update, we can transcribe it for easier consumption on the grandparent end of the experience. And, while we hope people will use the app experience, we also are making it such that you can leverage the platform just via text message. We're even considering a phone call based way to engage with it. So if you're less comfortable using apps, you can get your updates as a grandparent just texted to you and click it to listen and respond. Or eventually we hope to even just have it come as a phone call that you can pick up and respond to if that's the easiest way to participate. We don't want technology to be a hurdle at all.
That's very exciting. I think we're going to be doing some programming around Grandparents' Day, so hopefully we can include you in that. And we just want to congratulate you. This is great work. Love the way you took a need that you saw and your background in social programming and came up with this great solution that won both the investors' interest, the partners' interest, and the audience interest. So we're here to cheer you on. I think in the area of widows, as we look at the loss of spouses and siblings, I think there's a huge opportunity, and I want to follow up with you on that. So Fred, I think we have a real winner this morning.
We really do. Thank you, Eben, and thank you to Amelia as well. The website is Kinsome, KINSOME.com. And for more information on the collaborative, visit AgeTechCollaborative.org. And we want to thank the collaborative for sponsoring this edition and for helping to foster ideas that will help empower millions of people to choose how they live as they age. You can find us at maryfurlong.com/podcast. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Mary Furlong. Thank you for spending time with us.